because the US government poured millions into psychic research in the 20th century. Hey, for all we know, they may still be doing it. Who knows?
Welcome to Video Book Club. It is so great to see you. And I must say, once again, you match your background. You are the only author I know who is so coordinated, stylish, and classic. I mean, from the hair, the scarf, the shirt, and then all of the background colors. I envy you.
Oh, it's, I love bright colors. That's all I can tell you. I've always been a fool for bright colors. And I'm, you know, I,
Well,
I think people respond to color, and I certainly do. And
yes, and it's always, I mean, I did never, I had met you at like conferences and things, and you were always beautifully dressed and everything. But until we had the pandemic and we got to see you on video, it was, oh my gosh, she surrounds herself with color and it's all matching. And I was like, I'm very impressed.
okay, thank you. This is
And once again, I want to emulate you. Okay. But it's not, I don't, pink is not my color really. I wasn't, yeah. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to introduce everybody to Jayne Ann Krentz. She is the author of over 50 New York Times bestselling books. She has more than 40 million books in print and then a whole bunch in then ebook too, I'm sure. She writes fast-paced suspense with a sexy edge under three active pen names because you actually have more than that because I know. So if
we've
yeah,
been
so if
we've
you
known each other too long.
we're not going to go over all those. So if you like contemporary settings, try one of her releases under the Jayne Ann Krentz name, which is who we're going to talk to tonight. If you're looking for the historical, try Amanda Quick. And if you like adventurous suspense, paranormal, science fiction, then go with Jane Castle. So welcome, Jane. You know, Amanda's the only name where you didn't keep the Jane. You'll have
Yeah.
to tell us about that maybe later. Okay, so what we'd like to do is, I can't imagine, but it's quite possible that people don't understand your background and where you came from. And I didn't go over all of your background. Would you like to tell us about how you really got started writing?
Okay. Well, I am older than Google and older than Amazon, which means I date from the era when self-publishing was just not an option. There was no equivalent to the indie publishing that we see today, a scene that's really flourishing. And if I were starting out today, I would have definitely gone that route. But back in the day, it was New York or nothing. And it took me 6 years to get published. But what happened, so much of publishing is luck. And I had been writing romantic suspense for 6 years, and finally, the New York market opened up. And there was, you remember this, Sarah, it was, late 80s, 90s, the whole romance genre just bloomed, and the books were suddenly in all the stores, and they were appearing on the big box stores, and it was just a golden time and it's never looked back. It's still blooming. And that was, so I guess you could say I was standing on the right street corner when the bus went by. And I had a job at the time. I'm a former librarian. There are no ex-librarians. I don't know how to explain that, but turned out to be like the perfect training for research, and how to do the background research for my books and stuff. So it turned out that I fell into librarianship sort of accidentally, and then fell into writing the same way. And that's my life, one big accident.
Yeah, and just what you were saying is yes, the 1980s and early 90s, where if you wrote any kind of romance, they published you. It's sort of like, I hate to say it, but I think it's sort of like the romantasy now is that, you know, it's back. It's like there's always this other wave of some kind of women's fiction that's romance, that has romance in it, that appeals to us, and we are the people that go out and buy it. So
Yeah.
why do they keep ignoring us? I don't know, but they do.
No,
Yeah.
it's really thriving again. And this is like a new generation. I think the thing with romantasy that the big appeal there is, I think by the stuff I have read is that it's very imaginative, but it's basically a coming of age story. The characters are always on the young side and out to save the world because that's what kids have to do these days. And I think the dragons and the whole mystique of it is just it's just perfect for this younger generation that's coming up as readers. And now a lot of our generation is reading it too.
Yeah. And it's not a bad thing because it pushes everything else along, which
Yeah.
is sort of like uh, we're going to talk about this is you write in trilogies, which I really appreciate. I want to
Oh,
say that. I remember many years ago, you said you just wrote standalones and then you started writing series. And I was like, thank God she's doing that because I was always curious about some of your secondary characters who, uh, like, are just remember Arizona Snow, who has pops up everywhere, which I love Arizona. And okay, this is a little off topic, but do you have the doll of her?
no. No. The action doll. No,
Yes.
that's pure fiction.
Well, you should get one made. I mean, there are people out there that will make things that you can give them, and I would buy an Arizona snow doll. I'm just going to say that
Bubblehead
for
doll.
the, yeah, I'll take that. It's like, they're so cute. Anyway, but okay, so this trilogy is called the Lost Night Files, and it's
Yeah.
based on a podcast. So of course, oh, look at you. Look at you. Show us, show us, show us.
Okay. The first book is Sleep No More. That's the first book in the trilogy. And the first two books are out in paperback now. So that's it. And the corresponding price in Kindle. And second book is The Night Island.
Love that cover.
Yeah, this was a sharp pink.
Yeah.
And the last one is this is the
Uh,
third in the series. This
that's
is
what,
the
yeah.
big, yeah. And I do write in a couple of years ago, maybe it's probably longer than that by now. I'm losing track of time. My editor and I talked about the fact that writers tend to develop a certain kind of universe. Each writer has their own universe. And mine has certain ingredients that if you like my books, you're going to run into certain themes and certain elements that I like to work with. And that's true, I think, of every writer or most of the writers I know. And my universe, if you will, revolves around the psychic thing, as well as issues of all my characters are always dealing with issues of trust and issues of reinvention. They're always in the process of reinventing themselves. But the psychic thing is something I love to work with purely, mostly because of the plot options. Once you go down that road, you can solve crimes without having to go to the police and without having to use a cell phone because you're the only one who even knows a crime was committed because you're psychic and you can see what the cops don't see, like the dead body that's no longer there. And that gives me lots of plot things that free me up from having to do the forensic evidence thing or worrying about the DNA or, all that kind of good stuff. So that's it. You know what it does? It throws me back to the time of the amateur sleuth, where the crime is solved with logic and reason and observation, rather than the modern forensic stuff, which saves me a lot of research. And that's in all my books have a murder mystery going on the side.
Yes, there's always a good death. And what I really appreciate is most of your villains have blonde hair.
Yeah. If two clues, if you see a character smoking
Mhm.
or is a blonde a blonde haired guy or somebody who eats a lot of steak, you can probably bet they're associated with the villain.
Yes. Well, I really, one day when I was reading one of your other books, I realized that I really don't like blonde men for some reason. And then so I started looking in your books and I would go, oh, blonde guy. He's the bad guy. He's the bad guy.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just, I guess maybe it's because the men in my family were all dark haired. I don't know. I have no objection to them in real life, but 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 in the fiction, I kind of
Yeah.
I
You
don't know.
kill them off, which is great. I love it. I love it. I can tell you that.
What do you
Um,
think? Why do you think that's true? I mean, what is it? Why the blonde? What does the blonde message send that we kind of avoided? No.
I don't know, but most of the blonde men, by the time they get older, if they're okay, this sounds really tacky, but when they're older, it's because they're bleaching their hair.
Oh,
And it connects it with all of the other, I mean, because as you get older, they either go white haired. I'm okay with a white haired guy. But
yeah, yeah.
the blonde ones are just like, that means you're fake. You're fake. There's so much
Ah,
fakeness going on there that
that's
if you're
interesting.
in fiction, you can't be trusted. That's I think that's what my
Okay.
subconscious is telling me.
Okay.
Not sure. One of the things I love about your books is that you may say you don't do a lot of research, but every one of your romantic suspense, the contemporary ones have, and even the historical ones, they focus on some kind of item that I don't know about, that when I'm finished reading it, I have to go and do research. We've done the whole thing about photography. We've done, oh, the mesmerist, that's the Amanda Quick one, where what was all of that. This one is all about podcasts. So I want to know, because I'm assuming that this is because it stirs your interest and you like to go down that route and learn a little bit more, but not like inundate us with too much stuff. But what what got your interest in podcasts so that you would have this as the background for the trilogy?
Because it is the perfect amateur sleuth thing. It's just the amateur sleuth gone wide in a sense because everybody can contribute or everybody can talk about and deal with the same clues, you know. And I think it's just fascinating that people feel compelled to try and solve crimes on their own. I mean, there's lots of kinds of podcasts, but the true crime podcasts are the ones that fascinate me. And I just think it's the whole amateur sleuth thing, and we can all be Sherlock Holmes.
We all like being Sherlock. Some of us like to be Sherlock Holmes. I see dead bodies everywhere. It annoys people who go with me. But that's okay. Because I go, oh, you could put a body there. That wouldn't be bad. You could hide it. Okay. It's like strange, but
We
unusual
live
thing.
strange lives.
Yeah, yes, we do use strange. Well, okay, so your podcast is sort of a murder podcast, but it also has a bit of paranormal in the podcast world.
Yeah, this is the
So
point at which I should probably interrupt and say, for those who are talking about paranormal, yes, my books are considered paranormal, but there's those of us who read a lot of fiction understand that the paranormal in our world has come to mean more of the supernatural or the dragons. And the vampires, werewolves, that kind of witches, that's what most of us think about when we say paranormal. My books get labeled with that, but I'm always careful to point out that they only deal with the psychic thing. I don't deal with the supernatural. I can read it, but it doesn't fit my core story, so I don't write it. And for me, the psychic thing is just one step beyond intuition. And we've all got intuition. So it's, I think, easy to step into that, my world, and say, oh, if I just was, if I had a little more intuition, I could have figured that out, that kind of thinking. So I just wanted to clarify that when we say paranormal, for me, that's a narrow
yeah.
band of the paranormal.
Well, I was going to actually say you don't really have paranormal, you have psychic elements in your stories where it's like intuition, it's like possibly seeing shades of things. It's
Yeah.
no real ghosts, there's no ghosts, but it's like I think everybody, if you're I can't say everybody, but I see most people that I know have senses, have sensed something there that they can't quite see. Okay, in
Or
our house,
premonition or a premonition
yeah.
or, yeah.
Yeah, in our house it is. We got the dead cat upstairs. I mean, she passed on like 12 years ago, but I swear she's still there. And even the dogs will sit and stare up at the top of the stairs where she used to be. And it's just like the kind of like, well, there's something there. It's like probably just my imagination. And that's what is so great about your stories is that you have when they're solving it and things like that, they're getting something else that's just like, as you said, a step beyond the intuition. And that's great. And I don't want to give anything away. And I'm trying so hard not to do spoilers here. It's hard because I get my hands on your book. You are a must-read author for me that, as soon as I can get my hands on it, I read it. And I usually read your books multiple times. I hope that you're not upset by that. But
Never.
yeah, your Jane Castle books right now are my go-to when I want to feel good about things. So I just, I really love that. And I think that people don't understand why you had to have the three names. Do you want to go over that again?
I'm gonna take them.
Yeah.
I'm not sick, I swear.
Yeah, well, it's okay. You're not making any of us sick. That's the nice thing about Zoom. You could be over there sick as much as you want to be.
I
You're not
apologize.
contagious. Yeah.
Drainage.
Okay.
Seasonal drainage. Hmm. Well, the three names.
The three active names.
Okay. First of all, if there's any writers out there in the audience, I do not recommend this. Do not go for pen names. And the reason for that is that it's very difficult to build three brands. I got stuck with my three names because, sorry, because of business decisions, contracts. It wasn't anything I wanted. It wasn't the plan. There was no plan back at the start. But now the three names have come to be associated with my three worlds. And so that's the benefit. But the side effect of the fact that nobody remembers three names is that's why I'm saying don't go there if you're a writer. That's how I ended up with them. It was all
Yeah,
business.
it's all business. Yeah. But it's nice to know you kind of know what you're getting into. Like when you read an Amanda Quick, it's going to be some kind of historical, and historical ranges from medieval all the way up to the early 1930s, which is great. So you've got a whole plethora really of different time periods that you can pick, that you can figure out, that you can enjoy and you can love. And I love that. And I love the California 1930s, and I hope that there's more coming out soon.
They were
Hopefully.
fun.
They were
It's
fun.
fun
Yeah.
era. Yeah. It's got the
Uh
glamour element,
yes.
and it's
It was
before all the forensics.
yeah. It was a fun period. It's sort of like reading the Dorothy L. Sayre books and the Peter Wimsey. Okay, so if anybody who watches PBS in the old days, those are always the fun things. Or I guess Downton Abbey, the end of Downton Abbey. That was all those fun thing with the flapper. It's sort of flapperish, but other stuff is going on. And your Jane Castle books they take us out there. I think they were, for me, the original romantic sci-fi, and I quite enjoy them. The curtain comes down, people are in space, they're going to go to new worlds, like, we're not Mars, but they're going to new worlds and they have all that, but they still bring all the crap from home.
As usual, yeah.
Yeah.
But the best funny are by bet noir, whatever. I don't know what the word.
Yeah.
Because once I invented those, that's all anybody ever wanted. It's
Well,
like,
some of us want the Arizona snow doll because there is a dust bunny who has a Arizona snow doll.
see, there you go. Always a dust
There,
bunny somewhere in the picture.
there's
Yeah,
yeah,
they've taken over
okay,
my little castle world.
yeah.
For
And
those who
then
don't know
you've
about it, they're just little animals on this other planet that they're like the ultimate dog, I guess, or
yeah,
cat, something that is bonded with you
yeah, sort of psychic.
and sort of psychic. Yeah, like
Yeah.
a dog, like a dog.
Yeah, like a dog. Yeah, I have one laying here right here, keeping my feet warm, which is nothing wrong with that. And your Jane Ann Krentz books are the romantic suspense. They're contemporary. They are, the
Yeah,
bad guy's going to get or the bad woman, whoever it is going to do that. And they have little psychic elements in there, and people trying to up their psychic skill, or not skills, I would say talents, or
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the great thing about deciding to go down that road research wise was that you open up the cupboards and the stuff just spills out because the US government poured millions into psychic research in the 20th century. Hey, for all we know, they may still be doing it. Who knows? But it was definitely a thing from about the 30s through the 70s. And major universities were involved, like Duke University. Um, and the CIA was very big into this. They have visions of psychic spies. They were sure the Russians were working on the psychic spies, and they had cameras that took aura, took pictures of
Mhm.
auras supposedly, and then they tried to read the aura, and and this was legitimate research that was taxpayer funded for years. So once I'd kind of gotten into that background, it just became the point, the core of most of my psychic stories from then on, because it was just too good to pass up.
Yeah. It makes us feel like, oh, there's still shit going on. Okay. Well, yeah. Before we get to the fresh fiction facts, I would like to know, what do you have coming out for the rest of the year and maybe in the future, as much as you can tell us?
Okay. Well, in late May, early June is the next Jane Castle, the futuristic, called It Takes a Psychic. I love the cover on this one. I don't know if you've had a chance to look it up yet. Naturally, I don't have it to show you, but it's very bright color. You know me, I like very bright
Mhm.
colors. It's all yellows and golds.
Yeah.
I'm the cover alone is worth researching if you're looking for something to read. I suggest look at the cover of my book, and it's free. You could just Google it. Let's see it. It's called It Takes a Psychic. And yes, there is a dust bunny in it. So that's
And that
coming.
comes out like the end of May.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's actually the first week of June, or right there.
Yes. Yeah.
Not that much
And
longer.
yeah. And guys, it's on Fresh Fiction. You can go and look at the cover and read the synopsis. So,
Oh,
or
already?
oh,
Okay.
yes. Oh, yeah. We're going.
Huh.
And to make everybody mad, I've already read it.
Oh,
I try not to make people mad. Okay. I try not to. Okay. And so that's really great. Do you have an Amanda Quick coming, or is that like, don't know?
not yet. I'm still thinking about
Ah,
where to
what
go next.
time period to travel to? Okay. That's fine. I know you'll come up with something great.
One hopes.
Okay. Now, so as you're there coughing to death or whatever, I'm going to ask you some fresh fiction facts that you can, kind of spit out as you have a chance. Oh, all right. So you used to do a lot of traveling. I don't know if you still do. I know that you live in Seattle and you used to go to Hawaii every year for the cold months. I don't know if you still do that or not, but I was always very
Definitely
envious.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm jealous. But what is something that you must pack when you're traveling?
Medications.
Okay.
I'm at that age now. Don't leave home without them.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Uh,
Pepto-Bismol. Pepto-Bismol, because
Pepto-Bismol.
somewhere along the line, a travel doctor told me that it's the universal preventative every morning, one Pepto-Bismol.
Really?
I don't
That's a good
know.
thing.
I do it,
I
but I
don't,
don't.
but you do it, but you don't know. Okay. Has
Yeah.
it worked for you? More
Yeah.
or less? More or less?
As
Okay.
far as I
All
know.
right.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think in one of your older books called Family Man, I think it was called Family Man, you had a dog that would carry around his dish. And I thought, well, that's adorable. I never knew a dog that would actually do that until last year when we got a English bulldog. And now his favorite thing is that he takes his bowl out of the holder that it's in and he carries it around when it's time to eat. And I have blamed you for this because I thought it was such a weird kind of thing. Now, I know that you're not like a dog person, but what dog is your favorite one?
Oh, I think everybody sort of is fond of the dog of their childhood. And for me,
Mhm.
that was a medium-sized German Schnauzer.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Did he carry, did you ever know the dog that carried the dish?
No.
Or is that no?
Now I do.
Okay.
I
Now
do
you
that.
do. His name is Churchill, by the way. And he walks like Churchill, and he looks like Winston Churchill. He's just, yeah, we're
Yep.
not gonna
That's
go
yeah,
there.
the British Bulldog. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Okay. What is the favorite time of the day for you to read or write?
Writing in the mornings, but reading in the evenings.
Okay. Yeah. All right. What is your favorite writing fuel?
Coffee. Universal coffee.
Yeah. You used to drink tea a lot. You were always
Yeah.
bringing up tea.
I know. I was drank green tea for over 20 years and then I developed an allergy to it. So I know.
Shocking. I know.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Who knew? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I miss it, but coffee works.
Yeah. I yeah, I have to have coffee, but I'm now at black coffee stage. So now you have to get a really good roast, really good beans, and then a good roast and have to freshly grind them. It's like
Have you heard
there's
about
this
putting salt in it?
oh yeah, I learned that in Germany.
So how
That
much do you
was
I'm
40,
experimenting.
it was okay. You just a little sprinkle, and
Okay.
it should be either kosher salt or sea salt. You don't want to put ionized salt in there. You just sprinkle
Oh,
it on top after you grind your beans. Hey guys, we're all helping you learn how to drink coffee here. Grind the beans, put them in the filter, sprinkle a little tiny bit of coffee, a little tiny
okay.
bit of salt on it, and you're good to go.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Who was your first book boyfriend or girlfriend? I know you have to go way back in time.
Nancy Drew.
Ah, okay. Good, good. Okay, because we're romance readers, you and I and other people. What are the romances that have inspired you over the years?
Um, well, the perfect romance for me that launched my career was Anne McCaffrey's Restoree. It was the first futuristic romance I'd ever read, and I tried desperately to write it for years, write futuristic romance, and there was no market for it until I found that book when I was like 18, 19 years old, I guess. And it was a one-off, and nothing ever came on the market until a couple of decades later.
Yeah, she was
Yeah,
so good. Yeah.
yeah. Then she went on to Dragons, and I think they she did better with Dragons in
Yeah,
terms
she
of an
did.
audience. Yeah.
Well, her dragons are out there still. Okay, since you just had this book just came out, how do you celebrate a new release?
Glass, same way I celebrate every day, a couple glasses of wine.
Okay. All right.
Doesn't doesn't
You are sort of in your books. Okay, this is the thing is when I read your books, I'm like, oh, now I'm hungry because I went to nice charcuterie board because that's what Jane always has when she's always got cheese in the refrigerator and they've got little crudités to eat and it's really cool and everything. So, what's your favorite cheese?
Oh, I'm very fond of Beecher's cheese. Do you see Beecher's cheese out where you are? I don't know
Mm,
how, yeah, maybe more of a Pacific Northwest thing. The company I think started here, but actually any kind of cheese. I'm not real fussy.
Eddie,
Cheddar, blue, any of the fancy, the cute little ones that come in little rounds. You know, those
the
little
breeze and
breed.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind. Yeah. Um, I just like cheese. It's just
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Well, so my last question is before we go into the Q&A is that where can people find out more about you and what's coming up next? Where would you like to send people?
you can go to my Facebook page, just Jayne Ann Krentz author, but probably the better place is my website, which is janeannkrentz.com. That's where everything
Okay,
is.
that's good. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Jane, for being with us this evening. And it's been a delight. And you're hopefully going to stick around and answer some questions that are, secret kind of things.
I will. I will. Thank you.